Welcome to the Father and Son Sports Podcast. And now, here are your father and son hosts, Joe Rychowski, and G-Man, Gavin Rychowski.
The Father and Son Sports Podcast, sponsored by All In Mortgage.
Welcome, everybody, to the Father and Son Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Gavin Rychowski, and with me is...
Hey, it's Joe Rychowski here, and guess what? We are in the Thousand Islands in Alexandria Bay, New York for Labor Day weekend. We're here filming. We've got beautiful Bolt Castle behind us. You'll have to excuse some of the wind noises and probably the camera moving. It is extremely windy up here. We're on a third-floor balcony at the River Edge Hotel. We thank them for allowing us to film here.
Yep.
We got a great show, right?
Yeah.
What are we doing today?
We're going to do our top 10 college basketball programs of all time.
Top 10 college basketball programs of all time. We've done a little bit of research, and I think without further ado, let's go. And we're going to be using our devices here because we've got some great stats, so just don't mind us as we look down and we'll look back at you. But let's let it rip. You ready?
Right.
Why don't we do what we did?
You want to go from 1 and...
I'll go from 10 to 1.
We'll go
and
10, and then
yep.
I'll go my 10, right?
Yep,
Sounds
let's
good.
do it. Ready?
Right.
So my number 10, Arizona.
And my number 10 is Indiana.
Wow. My number 9, Villanova.
Number 9, Ohio State.
Wow. My number 8, UConn.
My number 8, Michigan.
My number 7 is Indiana.
My number 7 is Kansas.
My number 6 is Louisville.
My number 6 is North Carolina.
Wow, we so far, like halfway through, we are like,
different.
That's crazy, yeah. My number 5 is Kansas.
My number 5 is Villanova.
Wow, got them high up. We're going to talk about that. That's cool. My number 4, UCLA.
My number 4, Kentucky.
My number 3 is Duke.
My number 3 is UConn.
Wow. Okay, my number 2, North Carolina.
My number 2 is Duke.
And my number 1 is Kentucky.
My number 1 is UCLA.
Wow, we've got a wide range. We're like way off.
We didn't have the same one for any number.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So we're going to take you through what we have. So let's take a look up and see what we got. So my number 10 is Arizona, and here's what I noted. 4 Final Fours, 35 NCAA tournament appearances, and 53 top 60 NBA picks. And the way I did it was impact on college basketball national championships and all that. What you got?
So yeah, Indiana, got a lot of success in March.
They do.
Yeah, they got how many Final Fours? Like 6, I believe.
Yeah, and
like
they had the perfect team and a long time ago. So 77. So cool. So my number 9 is Villanova, and don't want to be too biased, and I know you have them higher up, but Villanova. 6 Final Fours, 39 NCAA tournament appearances, 3 natties, national championships. I think that's why I have them where they are, because there's a lot of other teams that have more national championships. What do you got at number 9?
Yeah, number 9, I got Ohio State.
Ohio State. Why Ohio State? That's interesting.
Ohio State got I think they have a lot of success, and they got a lot of future success coming as well in March.
Okay.
They got a lot of past success in March.
I like that. I can do that. Okay, number 8, UConn. And I kind of toyed with having them much higher up. I think, though, they've had a lot of recent success. Let's see what happens. And I think if they win another natty, then they go way up on the list. I mean, they're going to move up a lot of places. But, 5 Final Fours. I think that's where I have them down a little bit lower. Not as many Final Fours. 33 NCAA tournament appearances versus a lot of the other teams. So what do you have?
So now I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What made you put UConn at number 9?
I think the big thing for UConn at number 9 lower is just because of, they don't have as many, let's say, appearances in the NCAA tournament as some of these other teams. Like if I were to look at my list here, right, like Louisville, 43 NCAA appearances, higher up Kansas, 48. So I based it on national championships, NCAA tournament appearances, and basically your number of picks in the top 60. So they could be higher, I think, in a few years. Definitely. They're UConn is a team that I could have in a top 5, let's say next year, in the next couple of years, depending on how they do. If they win another natty, then they're way up there.
All right, so who do you have at number 8?
Okay, number 8. Well, we just talked about UConn, number 8. Yep,
sorry.
that's okay. It's all good. I know it's windy and it's hard. We got a jazz band playing now, so it's a lot of fun. So
my number 8, I have Michigan.
Michigan,
I think they back in 2018 they made the national championship. They didn't win, obviously, but
Michigan, interesting.
they got a lot of past success as well. The Fab Five, all that other stuff.
Impact on the game.
A lot of impact, a lot of March. And yeah,
I have Michigan in my top 15. Let's put it that way. I just think, yeah, they've had a lot of recent success, but I feel like for me, there's been more. I guess you could say some controversy things. The Fab Five. Again, we don't know what all happened and everything and what transpired. But if I look at it and I say Michigan, they don't have as many natties and stuff. So
yeah, I'm alright with that, honestly.
okay, so that was your number 8.
Yep.
Okay, so number 7, I have Indiana. 8 Final Four appearances, 39 NCAA appearances, 61, top 60 NBA picks. That's a lot. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, the great legend Bob Knight, who's now passed away. They had, the perfect run, the perfect team. So I have them up there. I think they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have?
Number 7, I have Kansas. Kansas.
Why so low for Kansas at 7, man? That's like low.
I'm just not high on them, honestly. I don't think they're that great, to be honest with you. They have a lot of success in March. I just don't think there's a lot of success in the NBA, like, draft picks and stuff. I'm just not that high on that.
Well, they had Joel Embiid, right? Joel Embiid went to Kansas.
Yeah, you
so.
have Joe Embiid, but
okay.
That's more recent, but I'm talking past. I just don't see
Yeah, they had some
that
gaps.
great.
I mean, they had some gaps. I can kind of give you that. I think they'd be higher because just notoriety and what they've done, and I think consistency, I think, for me. Okay. So, number 6, I have Louisville. Louisville, I toyed with actually keeping lower and putting UConn up. Louisville has obviously struggled as of late, big time. Just the program has really gone down, unfortunately, in the crapper. I mean, I love Louisville. I mean, Denny Crum, when he was a coach, amazing. But 10 Final Four appearances, that counts for something, right? 43 NCAA appearances, and then 55 top 60 NBA picks. I did a lot of research on this, based on this, and I still think Louisville, the history of the program really holds its weight, but they are going to be slipping. I think I could put UConn past them.
Okay.
What do you got?
Number 6, I have North Carolina.
Wow.
Once again, same with Kansas. I'm not very high on them.
Wow. So why not high on them? Would you say, was it recently or?
Recent. Same with NBA success. They got a lot of college success. I just think there's better programs that have more NBA success.
Damn, I got North Carolina way up because obviously Jordan, big impact, I think.
Jordan
Dean Smith.
was great. You have Jordan, but that's if you said, hey, name someone from North Carolina in the NBA, I'd say Jordan, and I honestly can't really think of anyone that much better.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
I like North Carolina. I think there's better programs out there.
We got a varying list here as we're halfway through. It's interesting because normally he and I are pretty tight with stuff, but this is pretty interesting. So maybe this is kind of more of the history and kind of the youthful mix here. I like it. All right, so let's see. So we did number 6, right?
Yeah, it was number 6.
Okay, number 5, I have Kansas at number 5, 15 Final Fours, 48 NCAA appearances, 63 top 60. I just think Kansas, the breadth of work and the consistency for me all along is just there. Now, I know they haven't won a lot of national championships. They had one a few years ago, but let's say the early 2000s, they slipped a little bit, but I think overall, you look at history of the program, that's how I have to have them.
Okay, number 5, I have Villanova.
Wow, Villanova way up there. Is that bias or what?
I mean, a little bit, honestly. Because, you went there, but still, if I look at them and say, wow, you got a lot of NBA success, Jalen Brunson in recently.
Okay.
And a long time ago, Paul Arizin,
Arizin's good. You had Eddie Pinckney, but not necessarily, huge pro player, but
Kyle
then, Lowry, I could see that.
Kyle
okay.
Lowry.
Some impact now, but yeah.
3 national championships, 6 Final Fours?
Yeah, I mean, let me go back and look at my little research here. 6 Final Fours, 39, 37. And see, that's why I had them lower. 37, 6 top 60 NBA picks. I did top 60. It's kind of first 2 rounds or whatever. So I don't know. I just feel like for me, I kept Nova down a lot lower. I think if they have more success, I think if they win another national championship, I think they start going up. I think 5 is too high.
I think honestly that if back in 2022 they had their run. They were in the Final Four against Kansas and lost.
Right.
I think if Justin Moore never got hurt, they would have gone on to win the national championship.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
Because think about it, he's averaging 12 points a game that season. They lost by 16 and be a lot closer, to be honest.
So I'm going to call an audible. So I kind of been thinking about this a little bit, and I actually toyed around with this before we started, so I'm actually going to switch up a little bit here. So my number 4 is going to be Kentucky.
Okay. My number 4 is Kentucky as well.
Wow.
There you go.
So I switched it up here, and I'll tell you why, because I've been thinking about this. I started out with Kentucky number 1 and UCLA at number 4. I just thought of some things I didn't think of, so I'm going to call an audible, which we can do. Hey, we're here. It's our show. And here's why. Kentucky has been a dominant program. I mean, they're definitely, and I think any of these programs are top 4, top 5. I mean, you can really switch them out. I mean, they're all pretty much similar, but Kentucky, 17 Final Fours, 59 NCAA tournaments. I think, some of the recent issues and challenges they've had knocked them down just kind of a tiny hair. But I just feel like I have to edge UCLA up there to my number 1 now, so I have to call an audible. So you guys can knock me if you want. You can give me a lot of crap for that, but I just have been thinking about this, and I actually had them reversed previously, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go with what I think, and now my gut's telling me I got to switch it up. What do you got?
Yeah, Kentucky at 4.
Okay.
Really recently, like the last time they won a national championship was 2012, right?
Yeah.
So that's been over 10 years now. They make March, but after what I saw from last year, from them losing in the first round, that's just you can't pull that. And winning 8 national championships, you can't pull that.
And that's a great point you bring up.
Recently, they just haven't been great in March. Yeah, they have a good regular season. They're not good in March.
And that's why I knocked them down just a hair recently with some stuff that's going on. So okay. I like it.
So moving on to the top 3 here.
All right, top 3. We know I've got Duke, 16 Final Fours, 78 top 60 NBA picks. They've had a lot of NBA success. 43 NCAA tournament appearances. When Coach K came on in the early 1980s, that's what really turned it around, and they've been consistent ever since.
Yeah.
And with Josh Iyer. So what do you got?
Yeah, number 3, I have UConn.
Wow, that's high up.
Recently, UConn just, UConn 2 national championships back to back. That hasn't happened in a long time.
True.
I mean, not a very, very long time, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Say before I was born, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I watched UConn build a nice program under Jim Calhoun, but I think that's too high for me right now. I think a lot of recent success, but if you're taking this over the history of college basketball, I feel like if you did a recent thing, sure, they could be up there, but maybe that's another one we do. But I just think that's a little too high for me.
I think UConn's got a lot of success, and they're going to have a lot of success in the NBA now. You have, let's say, Castle. Is he in? Did he get drafted this year?
I don't remember. I have to look that up.
I know Newton got drafted.
Right.
A lot of Klingon got drafted.
Yeah.
A lot of good people. They're not going. I don't think they'll win a national championship this year.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, Dan Hurley's done an amazing job. I mean, he really, to me, is like the new face of the Big East, and I think with Coach Wright being out, really the new face of college basketball. So I can give you a little bit of that, but I still have them lower.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the NBA they will have a lot more success now. I think they'll still be good this year. They will probably make the Elite 8. I don't see them winning this year.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think UConn's going to win a third in a row. I mean,
they obviously could. Obviously,
there's a chance, but I just don't think they will. I think there's going to be a couple other teams that are going to be really tough to beat.
Now, who could you say next year for that?
I really think Kansas is going to be spectacular. I really do. I don't know.
I don't see that.
I just think there's something there. I think usually when Kansas is quiet, I feel like that's when they succeed. When they brought in Hunter and everything, and it was like a lot of hoopla, and but I really think Kansas is going to surprise. I do think, UConn's obviously going to be up there. Who else is going to be up there? Here's a wild card, and again, people think I'm going to be biased. I really think Villanova will actually do extremely well this year.
I mean, look at all they brought in, actually.
Yeah.
Been looking at it all season.
I mean, obviously it's all got a mesh, but I feel like it's a quiet year versus last year. All these other big names, and these guys are a little bit lower down the totem pole. I think these guys are more Villanova-like players. So I think I can see that. So I definitely think they can win 20 games this year, if not a little bit more. I think they will compete for top in Big East.
Okay.
Top 3.
I could see them getting top 2. I think
Yeah.
they can win 23 games at the most. I mean, they I don't know if they will.
Right.
I mean, if I had to give odds, there's probably a 40% chance they do that.
Yep.
To be honest, I just don't see them being great. To be honest,
And that was a sign, the horn of the boat
Yeah.
going out.
I just don't think I'm not high on Villanova, even though I'm a fan of them. I'm not high on them this year. I think they will miss March again.
I'd like your
I
perspective.
mean, I think they will make March. I'll say this. I think
Yeah.
they will.
Okay.
But a lot of people will think they will not.
Okay. I think they will. I think they're going to surprise. They're not going to be, I don't think, a top 10, but it's going to give some people some problems.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's get on. Number 2.
Number
I got
2.
North Carolina. And I've got 20 Final Fours, 75 top 60 picks. You got Michael Jordan. I think enough said. 50 NCAA tournament appearances. Yes, they had some challenges, but they've still been very consistent, I think. And that's why I got North Carolina way up there.
Okay, number 2, I have Duke.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are interchangeable a little bit. Duke, I have 3, you have 2. That's good. Anything to add on Duke or no?
Duke, the history behind it. Look at all the success they have in the NBA. Christian
Right.
Laettner, I know people don't like him, but Christian Laettner is great. Even though you don't want to say it, you
One of
can
the top
say
college basketball players of all time. Has to be.
it. Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
you can say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will give credit to the Duke Stadium. I've watched some of their games on TV. It seems very loud in there. I will say that.
Cameron Indoor Stadium, it's a place I want to go. It is extremely rowdy and crazy, and the Dukies are nuts.
I would love to go there, actually.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yep.
But, I mean, Duke recently, with NCAA tournament, I think they've disappointed a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, they have definitely disappointed for sure. I agree with you there.
I mean, even this year, what did they lose in the Elite Eight?
Yeah.
They should have been, honestly, they should have been in the Final Four.
Well, and it's a big thing. It's like Villanova. It's like you go from really top college coach in Jay Wright and Coach K, one of the greats of all time, if not the greatest college men's basketball coach of all time.
And then now,
and now John Shire. John Shire. It's kind of tough shoes to fill, but I think he will succeed.
He will. I think he will get better. Yeah,
I think so. It just takes time.
Yeah.
It really does. All right, so number 1, and this is where I called my audible. I originally had Kentucky, but UCLA is my number 1. What do you got?
Yeah, I got UCLA too.
All right. So we kind of, made up here. We got a couple common things. So, and the reason I put UCLA, now UCLA hasn't had a lot of success lately, but I just think, winning that many titles in the 70s
11
in a row.
That's a lot.
Right. 18 Final Fours, 83 top picks. The more I thought about it, the number of picks in the first and second round, UCLA's had that. 49 NCAA appearances versus, let's say, I know Kentucky's had a little bit more, but I just feel like UCLA has the better resume overall. And that's how I based mine, is the overall history of college basketball. And I think UCLA still stands out. Now, here's the thing. If we do this in a couple years and their success doesn't happen again, we start to see it fizzle a little bit. I think they're well positioned to start doing really well. Then I think they can go down, and I can have, it's interchangeable. I could have either North Carolina, let's say Duke, and even Kentucky back up there. Maybe even UConn potentially, I think.
Yeah, you pretty much said what I was honestly going to say, to be honest with you. There's really nothing to add about them. They're just a good, dominant program.
So as we close out here, you had a really great thought, like kind of on the fringe. Who's a team or a couple teams on the fringe?
Like 11, 12?
Yeah, just say like the teams that you had that you were thinking about that didn't make it.
So, Louisville, obviously.
Okay.
I'm not very high on them, to be honest.
Yeah, they've had a lot of recent not so good success.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, and I could definitely. That's why I had a much lower.
Now, who would you throw at 11 if you had to throw?
I mean, I was thinking like maybe like Ohio State, Cincinnati, somebody like that. I think those are some teams I can see.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Michigan certainly kind of on the fringe. Yeah, I mean, there's really not others I can see right now.
Could you see a Cincinnati or a Syracuse?
Syracuse is tough. Syracuse is in my top 20, I would say, right? But if I'm thinking Syracuse, they just haven't had a lot of recent success. I mean, I know Coach Jim Boeheim retired, and they had, a lot of 20-win seasons in a row, won the Natty, but I just feel like they haven't been there, and they're probably my top 20.
And what about Cincinnati?
Cincinnati's kind of just outside. I think that top 10 probably maybe let's say 13, 12, somewhere around there. Ohio State's there for sure. They're on the fringe, but there's got to be better body work, and yeah.
Okay, now what you said about Syracuse not having recent success, I will say they have not had recent success, but I think this year they will make a run. They will be in the Elite Eight this year.
Interesting.
They have, or maybe even Sweet 16 or Elite Eight. They have a solid team this year.
Mark that down, folks. That's an interesting pick. I like that.
They have a solid team this year. I do believe so.
I mean, I think they're going to make the tournament this year. How far they go, I just don't know. I mean, I'm not sold on where they are. They've had a lot of good players over the years, but I just feel like Syracuse to me, I think is, for me, if I were to say major disappointment, and I love Syracuse, I love the Big East. I mean, they're former, Big East school,
Yeah.
I want to see Syracuse do well, but I feel like, to me, I think they should have won some more national championships. I really think so. I think they're a tough team to not crack that top 10.
Okay.
Cool. Well, that is it, guys. That is all the time we have. It's really getting sunny out. It actually just rained, but we've got the beautiful Bolt Castles you can see in the background there. Thanks for joining us while we're on vacation. We're kind of in our vacation gear, so not our usual garb. And that's it. Anything else to say?
No.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching episode 3.